Hello and welcome again to VW Feast. Today we're going to be making Okonomiyaki. Yes, we're going back to Japan. So, what we have, first of all, the ingredients for a eggless batter. And then we have the eggs separately. We have noodles, cabbage, beansprouts, Chinese chives, which will help provide a lot of the flavors and textures. Our beautiful Char Sui pork. Some chillies, which are entirely our doing. Something to make a beautiful topping sauce, and some pickled ginger and Tonkastu. So yeah, very contentious because this is obviously a Japanese traditional dish. There are two varieties of Okonomiyaki, one mainly in Hiroshima and one in Osaka. Since we're probably baking every culinary rule in Japanese cuisine, we'll just say this is the Berlin style. First of all, we're going to just get that batter in a frying pan just to form a sort of crispy base. It's a sort of stacked pancake with vegetables and meat. The noodles, again, are slightly contentious but provide a lot of bulk to this. Believe it or not, this will feed 4 people. We're limited slightly because we don't have the big hot flat top plate that is traditionally used for this, where you can move things around. So we've got 3 pans on the go to try and almost recreate that cooking surface. So on go the beansprouts and the cabbage. We're using a Chinese cabbage. You can use any cabbage. We probably not recommend using anything as heavy as a Savoy, but just something that provides a bit more crunch. Now, as you can see, the VW is putting the chilies, which is very unorthodox, on one half of the okonomiyaki. Our plan was we'd have one half and our neighbours would have the other half. They're not as big spice lovers as we are. However, in the end, we got confused and forgot which half they were in. So, sorry. So to our second pan, we're going to put in our egg mixture to make a sort of an omelette layer to this. All beautiful layers. Now I would say you can use whatever you want in the layers, but again you'll be in trouble, like we will be, with the whole of Japan. But pretty much they get those layers, get that crunch, and you get this beautiful experience at the end. So a little bit more water, a little bit of oil into a final pan. And then into that we're going to put our freshly cooked noodles, and just taking a bit of care here just to separate them out and make sure they're not all clumped together. You want that nice sort of noodly texture of separated noodles rather than a big chewy lump. To that we're going to add some Worcester sauce, and I say Worcester sauce, not Worcestershire sauce or Worcestershire sauce, but that's me, that's what I say. Or you could just say Leon Perrins. Now the VW is adding a little bit more of that eggless batter to the main pan. What she wants to do now is actually to flip it over so that it can cook on the other side as well. And so putting a bit more of that batter on will mean that we'll be able to crisp up both sides. And let's move those noodles around, trying not to break them, but just get them all nicely warmed through, a little bit crispy and coated with that Leon Perrins. So, moment of truth coming up. We're just going to push it down a bit, but at some stage the VW is going to have to flip this over. So, a bit of bravery and fantastic. There we go. Beautiful, so you can see that beautiful crispy base, which we're now going to recreate on the other side as well. And it's time to start building again. So, on go all the ingredients. Obviously the cabbage and the beansprouts give you that crunch and stops it being too dense. And just making sure that it's cooking nicely underneath. On goes again our Char Sui. We showed you how to make that in the Char Sui fried rice. Obviously Char Sui is not a Japanese but a Chinese ingredient, but As I say, if you're going to be in trouble, may as well be in trouble for everything. We got a lot of trouble over Cornish pasties. Safe to say we can't go there again. Again, go on the Chinese chives. You could use spring onions if you don't have Chinese chives, and an attempt to try and put the chilies in one side, but the eagle eye amongst you will have noticed that this is now the other side to the chilies we put in before. Also, what the VW has done is made a dressing sauce using the Tonkastu and ketchup and other things to make a dressing sauce. Again, the different dressing sauces we've seen used, some have been red, some have been white, and just go on the top nicely. The ingredient we haven't used, which can you see in a lot of okonomiyaki, are little fish flakes, which are so fine that with the heat of the okonomiyaki they almost curl up and dance on top of the finished product. So, egg going ready to go on, and another bit of bravery. Hey! Beautifully cooked egg. So, back on the oil for the remaining egg. Get that going, and then it's back to layering. Some of those lovely noodles that have just crisped a bit in the pan. And with the okonomiyaki, of course, you should be washing it down with traditional Japanese drinks. Maybe some Japanese beer or some sake. Depends what time of day it is. Wouldn't recommend having sake for lunch, because bang, that's the rest of your afternoon gone. A little bit more of the pork. Sure, some of these bean sprouts who didn't want to go in the okonomiyaki still make their way in. The Chinese chives. The noodles. Not too heavy on the noodles, otherwise you're going to get a very, very dense effect. On goes the omelette this time, and the VW's elected, rather than tossing it, to just finally finish it off under the grill. And then you're left with the assembly. So remember that dressing sauce we had? Well, if we had a nice squeezy bottle, we'll be able to squeeze it out on attractive looking lines, but unfortunately we only have an oil dispenser, so it comes out more as dollops. However, the taste is exactly the same. Lovely tangy sauce. A few more of the chives, and finish off with the pickled ginger. Don't worry what's in the top left corner, that's just me. Okonomiyaki. Enjoy.